The first sign was small, barely noticeable. The kind of remark you'd typically brush off if it weren't for the strange glint in her eye. Clara had just returned from her solo getaway to Cancun. She claimed it was a much-needed escape to decompress after months of high-stakes pressure from her corporate job. I hadn't questioned it. Why would I? We were solid, or so I believed. I trusted her completely, with the kind of blind confidence that only comes from years of commitment, laughter, and shared dreams. But then, over dinner, she casually recounted stories from her trip. Her voice was light, animated, full of color and flair. And then, with a mischievous grin tugging at the corners of her mouth, she said something that made my stomach twist. "Oh, and I got to taste some really delicious banana down there." The words landed strangely, not what she said, but how she said it, low, suggestive, with a smug satisfaction that didn't quite fit the story. I laughed it off, feigned amusement, maybe even joked back. Perhaps she'd discovered some tropical fruit or an exotic dish. But the way she lingered on the word banana, her smile curling like a secret, wouldn't leave my head. It followed me into the night, slinking through the corridors of my mind like a whisper I couldn't quite decipher. Hours later, as Clara lay sleeping beside me, peaceful and content, I sat in the dim glow of the living room, staring at her phone. On the coffee table, the idea of invading her privacy revolted me. I wasn't that person. I'd always believed that trust was sacred. To snoop was to betray. But something inside me, some gnawing, cold instinct, wouldn't be quiet. My hands trembled. As I picked up the phone, the passcode came easily: her birthday, the day we were married. When the screen unlocked, my breath caught. There it was, a hidden folder in her photo gallery, tucked away in the shadows, almost as if she wanted it to be found eventually. My heart thundered in my chest as I opened it. Dozens of photos and short video clips greeted me. There was Clara, radiant in the sun-drenched beaches of Cancun, laughing in the arms of a man I had never seen before. He was shirtless, skin-bronzed, lean and muscular, everything I wasn't. In one shot, he had his arms around her waist, and she leaned into him like they'd known each other forever. Beneath several of the images were captions that twisted my gut: "Best banana I've ever had. Worth every secret." Another: "Can't wait to go back for another taste." I couldn't breathe. The phone almost slipped from my fingers. It wasn't just the affair. It was the audacity, the pride, the sheer delight in her deception. There was no remorse, no hesitation, just raw, gleeful betrayal. I didn't wake her. I didn't scream or cry or beg for answers. I sat in silence, my mind splintering into 1,000 pieces. That night, something inside me shifted. My pain didn't paralyze me, it crystallized into resolve. If this was who Clara had become, then I would become something else, too. I would take back control. The first thing I did was find him. He hadn't exactly been discreet. Clara, in her arrogance, had saved his number under a generic alias. But a simple reverse search led me to his Instagram profile. His name was Javiera, bartender at a swanky beachfront club in Cancun. His feed was what you'd expect: shirtless photos, flirty captions, hundreds of comments from adoring women. A caricature of charm and bravado. Clara had fallen for the cliché. A tourist seduced by a smooth-talking beach Casanova. I stared at his smirk in photo after photo. And while the anger simmered, it wasn't all-consuming. I was focused. I was planning. Her birthday was 2 weeks away. It was perfect. Over the next days, I compiled everything. Every message, every image, every video. I downloaded them and backed them up in multiple places. But that wasn't enough. I hired a private investigator in Cancun. It didn't take long for him to uncover more about Javier. Turns out, he had a girlfriend, Sophia, a local teacher, kind-eyed and unassuming, from what her online presence showed. I couldn't let her be another unsuspecting casualty of his games. The night of Clara's birthday, I played my part with precision. Her parents were there, a few close friends. I even gave her a silver locket, something she'd once mentioned loving. Her eyes lit up when she opened it, utterly unaware of the storm about to descend. After dinner, I stood, glass in hand, tapping it gently. The room quieted, and Clara looked at me with adoration. Expecting a sentimental toast, I forced a smile. the weight of what I was about to do pressing down on my chest. "I want to thank everyone for being here tonight," I began, my voice calm, almost cheerful. "It's been a difficult year, but tonight is about celebration. Clara, you deserve to feel special." She smiled, hand to her heart. "I got you something else, something truly unforgettable." I reached under the table and pulled out an envelope, thick and heavy with printed evidence. She hesitated as I handed it to her, sensing something shift. Her smile faltered. She opened it. Her face drained of color as she shuffled through the photos and screenshots, the videos, the captions. What is this?" she whispered. "It's your banana, Clara," I said softly, the venom carefully laced in my tone. "Remember that delicious taste you just had to brag about? Well, now everyone gets to savor it." Gasps rippled across the table. Her mother covered her mouth. Her father's face turned to stone. His fist clenched around his wine glass. Clara's hands trembled as she tried to form words, but none came. "And I'm not the only one you lied to," I continued. "Javier's girlfriend, Sophia. She deserves to know, too." I pulled out my phone and tapped play. A pre-recorded Zoom call began. The screen split between me and Sophia. In the video, I calmly laid everything out, every detail, every piece of proof. Sophia sat in stunned silence, and by the end, her eyes welled with tears. She promised she would handle things from her end. Clara stared at the video, wide-eyed. "You didn't," she whispered. "Oh, I did," I said, "and I'm not done." After the dinner ended in stunned silence and shattered illusions, I flew to Cancun the next day. I walked into the beach club Javier worked at, the air thick with salt and bass-heavy music. He was behind the bar, laughing, charming, flirting with a new group of tourists. I walked right up to him and slapped a thick folder of photos and printed texts on the bar. His smile froze. "Recognize these?" I said, loud enough for nearby patrons to hear. He blinked, glanced at the folder, then up at me. "I don't know what this is, man. Really, that's my wife. Right there." I pointed to a photo of him kissing Clara in the surf. "That's my wife." Murmurs erupted around us. His manager came over, frowning. "Is there a problem?" "There sure is," I said, handing him a copy of the evidence. "You've got a guy on staff who specializes in seducing married tourists. Just thought you should know." The manager's face darkened as he flipped through the papers. Javier tried to talk his way out, but it was too late. He was told to leave, pending further review. As he stepped outside, I followed. The confrontation turned physical. He shoved me, a desperate move from a man who knew his charm had failed. I didn't hesitate. Every hit I threw was powered by months of pain, of betrayal, of humiliation. When I finally stepped back, he lay crumpled, bloodied in the sand. "You don't mess with another man's wife," I said, voice low, breath ragged. Then I turned and walked away. Back home, the fallout was swift. Clara's parents cut ties, too ashamed to even speak her name. Our friends, mutual friends we'd known for years, chose their side. "Mine, Dad," she called. She texted. She even came by once, sobbing and pleading. I didn't answer. I filed for divorce the very next day. Sophia, true to her word, kicked Javier out. She exposed him to their circle, dismantling the image he had so carefully curated. He was done. His reputation burned to ash. Now, I live in a quieter house. There's still the occasional pang, the echo of what once was, but mostly there's peace. Silence not weighed down by suspicion. Mornings that don't begin with doubt. Clara and Javier got exactly what they deserved, and I finally got something far better: freedom.